What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus package update, daily news, what's going on here in our country and in Washington, D.C., money, investing, the stock markets. Remember, the new videos come out here every day on our channel here at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will keep you up to date with everything going on here in our country and in Washington, D.C. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe down below. It's completely free to do so you don't miss out on any new videos. Also, I'm going to be giving away a total of $1,000 to our viewers later, or more on that later in this video. So also, if you find these videos helpful, don't forget to hit the like button for us down below. We got a lot to cover here in this video, so let's jump right in. Okay, first up, let's start here with this article published yesterday. These Americans are set to receive up to $10,000 in stimulus money. In fact, you can actually receive more than $10,000 in stimulus money regarding this program. And they're talking about rent assistance. You can see here some renters may still be in line for a substantial amount of assistance. When the American Rescue Plan was signed back in March, it didn't just send stimulus checks flying into recipients' bank account. It also supplemented an existing pool of rental assistance fund designed to help tenants catch up on past due rent and stay in their homes. But in March, the pot of money increased substantially, totaling roughly $46 billion in rent assistance alone. Rent assistance is being distributed at the state level, and that money won't come automatically. You have to apply for that through the different state rental assistance programs. Furthermore, some rental assistance applicants may be capped at certain amounts of aids depending on where they live. In New Jersey, where housing costs tend to be relatively high, some counties are limiting applicants to a total of $10,000 in rental assistance per household. But still, a lot of struggling renters could soon see a large pile of money come their way. Now, just in the last few days, I have literally seen dozens of comments of people that we have helped through our community here, of people that have gotten 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, or more of rent assistance. I will link you to 2 videos, one for rentals or for renters and one for homeowners. There's also a homeowners assistance fund with $9.9 billion of assistance for homeowners. And in fact, the majority of states are just getting ready to open that fund for homeowners. The rent assistance is open in almost all states. From what I've heard from you guys down below in the comments is that Texas has just closed their rent assistance program, which is odd to me because like 80% of the money is still available nationwide. So I find it weird that Texas would have gone through all their money. It's kind of weird to me, but I do want to note here, I don't know, maybe they're just behind on applications and they're just kind of sifting through them. I do want to note here that this next stimulus package, when they pass it, one of the provisions in there is to add $25 billion more of rental assistance. So when they pass this next package, there's going to be $25 billion more of rent assistance for all 50 states. So if you're low income, if you've been on unemployment recently, if you're behind on rent, each state has different qualifications, okay? So each state has different criteria. Definitely apply for rent assistance. It's one of those things you apply now and then you find out like several weeks later whether or not you get it. It's kind of like a lottery ticket. And if you get it, you could literally get your rent paid for 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months of it. Same with homeowners assistance. The homeowners assistance is actually getting ready in the vast majority of states to open up. So I have 2 links for you down below in the description of this video, or I will link you to it at the end of this video so you can continue watching the rest of the update here for you. But it's one of those things, if you're low income, behind on rent, or if you've been affected by the pandemic on unemployment or anything like that, or if you have any friends or family that have been, this is one of the big stimulus programs that have been from the last stimulus package and in this next stimulus package. It's a way that they're giving money out to people for stimulus, okay? So it might not be a stimulus check per se, but it's a stimulus program that they're giving money out, 40 some billion dollars from the last program, last stimulus package, and $25 billion more. So literally, because you watch this show, you know about it. If you ask 10 people on the sidewalk just walking by, 9 out of 10 of them or 10 out of 10 of them wouldn't even have a clue about it. Okay. And if they're middle to high income, they wouldn't even be eligible for it. So because you watch this show, you know about it. Go and apply for it. And I've literally seen probably thousands of comments of people that saying, literally just read the comments down below. If you've gotten it, comment down below. And you'll see people that have said, yes, I've gotten 3 months, 6 months, 12 months of this, to the tune of $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 or more. And it literally changes people's lives here. This is money available from the government. It's already been approved, stimulus money, and it can literally help your family too. So links down below in the description of this video, or I'll link you to it at the end of this video so you can just click for it right on the screen, okay? And I want to say, if you've already gotten it once, some states, most states allow you to apply again. There's going to be another $25 billion of it, most likely in the next stimulus package. So after the next stimulus package is passed, there's going to be $25 billion of it more. That's a lot of money, $25 billion with a B. Okay, next up, let's go to Democratic Representative Pramila Jayapal, the leader of the Democratic Progressive Caucus. She's probably the main leader in the House of Representatives, besides Nancy Pelosi, who's the actual leader of the House, the Speaker of the House. She's the leader of 96 Democrats in the House, the Progressive Caucus, giving us an update on the stimulus package and where we are and what's going to happen going forward.
When House Democrats separated these two bills, is that one would get left behind. So now the challenge is to make sure that that doesn't happen. Joining me now is Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal of Washington State, chair of the Congressional Progressive Caucus. It's always great to have you on the show, Congresswoman. And I want to start by acknowledging the scope and scale of this bill that passed is a big deal. I mean, it is. Lawrence O'Donnell was pointing out the other night that there is no other president that has a trillion-dollar infrastructure bill investing in infrastructure in this country ever, including Eisenhower. This is a huge deal. And so I want to acknowledge that. And I think it's important to acknowledge that. But you and I have talked about before that the risks of taking that monumental, important thing, and which is going to, really benefit people, and cleaving off the parts that help the women and the people of color and the environment and the young people, cleaving that off, is that big thing becomes the only thing left. And so I wonder, as the person who you did oppose separating them, how hopeful are you that this second half is going to get also to be a big effing deal?
Yeah, yeah, Joy, it's so great to see you. And you laid it out, as you always do. And let me just start by saying the infrastructure bill really is a big deal. Trump said for 4 years that he was going to get infrastructure done. He never got infrastructure done. Yeah. President Biden has gotten infrastructure done, and it is a big deal. It's like for me, it's money to restore the Puget Sound. It's getting lead out of our, getting clean water and getting our lead pipes replaced. It's our bridges that are crumbling. It's so many important things. Public transit. It's $380 million, by the way, for my state for public transit. So there's a lot in there. Now, we didn't want to separate them because we didn't want to leave anybody behind. 85% of the president's agenda is in the Build Back Better Act. But Joy, because the Progressive Caucus stood up and said we're not leaving anybody behind, we went from having no Build Back Better Act, no negotiation, no text, no nothing, to now having a vote in the House this week. It will be this week. It'll be before Friday. Because that was the agreement we made and the commitment we got. And then we have the president's word that he is confident he can get 51 votes in the Senate. I heard him say today he's hoping that can happen very quickly. I see no reason why it can't move in the Senate within a week or two of us sending it over to the Senate. So hopefully, Joy, we will have a very big, fat Christmas present that is about universal childcare, universal pre-K, the biggest investment in housing. You and I have talked about how that's a racial justice issue. One of the things that's escaped under the radar that I wanted to bring up for you is that within the climate change provisions, the Progressive Caucus prioritized what we call EJ 40, Environmental Justice 40, meaning 40% of all of the outlays for climate should go to the most disproportionately affected. And the set-asides in Build Back Better that we were able to get are really fantastic for folks of color, Indigenous people across this country, poor people across this country. So we are not only taking on climate change, but we are doing it with the values that are about centering those who have been disproportionately affected. So we'll have that vote this week, Joy. That's what we negotiated. And I'm just so proud of the Progressive Caucus for never letting this go and not leaving anybody behind.
Okay, so number one, she maintains that they're going to vote in the House by Friday. I want to, that's what she's saying. You heard her say it. I'm not so sure. I think they might, maybe, yes. You heard her say it. I'm not, I'm just being kind of maybe the devil's advocate here a little bit, because from what I understand, their agreement says that the Congressional Budget Office, they will vote yes on it if the moderates, there's only 6 moderates, okay, that have signed this agreement. And the Congressional Budget Office score needs to come back and say it's fully paid for and that everything is on the up and up. From what I understand, that score might not come back and say that, okay? They can afford 3 people to vote no. The question is going to be, what is this Congressional Budget Office score going to say? And what are people going to do when this Congressional Budget Office score comes back by Friday or before Friday? And then they're going to rush to vote on the same day or before then. So it's going to be a very rushed process here. And it's just, wow, it's just, it feels like it's kind of rushed. Not that I haven't think that we should have passed this a long time ago, but it just feels like we're going to get the score potentially back on Friday, and then they're going to try to vote the very, an hour later, right? That to me feels a little bit rushed. Like, do we even have time to read the report if it comes back that day and then we vote? Like, I mean, how much time is going to be there? Yeah, and the question is that if the report comes back and says it's not fully paid for, or it's not as it was supposed to be, or here's the other thing that could happen is that let's just say that the package says it's not fully paid for, then they could have to start adjusting the package. Okay, it doesn't necessarily mean, a lot of people don't fully understand this, that if the Congressional Budget Office comes back and says it's not quite fully paid for, they can do a couple different things. They could just vote on it, pass it, okay? Just because it's 98% paid for doesn't necessarily, it's not the end of the world, right? Okay, even the physical infrastructure package was not fully paid for. We had a Republican on the show that said, well, it wasn't fully paid for, but there were some other things that were paid for, like the unemployment money that the Republican governors opted out of, that they were using that money to pay for, but the Congressional Budget Office didn't really give them credit for it, okay? There's going to kind of be a little bit of that in this here, where the Congressional Budget Office is kind of, I've already read some reports that says the IRS tax provision, where the IRS wants to look in your bank accounts, that controversial provision, that the Congressional Budget Office is being very conservative on that. It's being very conservative on that. So let's just say that they're going to say it's only going to bring in $200 billion, but it could potentially bring in $400 billion, okay? That's a big difference. That's the difference between it being fully paid for and not fully paid for, okay? So that's a big difference, right? So the question is going to be well, each person's vote, are they going to vote for it or not? The other thing they could do is they could remove a few things from the package. The third thing I want to mention here is that what the House passes and what the Senate passes is likely going to be very, very different, okay? Some people like Joe Manchin has already kind of said the House should just pass this bill and send it to the Senate, because the real bill is probably going to be what the Senate passes, okay? Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema and what Bernie Sanders, I even seen a comment yesterday that said something like the real tickets to the show are going to be between Bernie Sanders and Joe Manchin. I'd like to see tickets to that show, and that's going to be the real fight, because that is going to be Joe Manchin doesn't want to vote for this, but Bernie Sanders is going to say, no, we got to have this. And I'm saying this, because who knows what Joe Manchin is going to say he does and doesn't want to vote for. And that's where we're going to really see the bill probably get completely rearranged. And Bernie Sanders might say, well, if we're going to remove that, maybe we should add a stimulus check in there for adults. Okay. And Joe Manchin is going to say, well, I don't want to vote for paid leave. We should do that through a standalone bill. And Bernie's going to say, well, maybe we should add this, and this. Okay. And that's where the Senate is probably going to significantly change this bill. It's probably what's going to happen. And remember that there are the continuation of the monthly checks called the child tax credits for one more year. But remember, if they don't pass this package, there's a couple different caveats there. Number one, the last monthly check, the child tax credits, will end on December 15th. That'll be the last monthly check. But the other problem is we have the debt limit, which the initial estimate would be December 3rd. And they have to pass this stimulus package to prevent the debt limit from actually being breached on December 3rd, or that was the initial date of the December 3rd. So the problem is December 3rd was the initial date of reaching the debt limit, which is where the government would literally run out of money. So the other issue is that they have to pass this stimulus package in the next 2 weeks to raise the debt limit as well, because the Republicans are refusing to raise it, which is really what they're elected to do. Republicans and Democrats come together to pass bills like this. But alas, Republicans are refusing to do it. They're forcing Democrats to do it through the stimulus package. So Democrats have to pass this package in the next 2 weeks or so in the House and the Senate to raise the debt limit and prevent our country from literally defaulting, and our country's credit rating from collapsing, to keep Social Security payments from to continue going out, to keep child tax credit payments child tax credit payments going out, and our full faith and credit of the United States from collapsing, the stock market from collapsing. There's a lot riding on this next stimulus package, a lot.
And I want to talk about that for a minute, because people like Cori Bush and AOC, they're getting like the crap kicked out of them on social media, which isn't the real world, but it's got to hurt, because these are the people, they've been on this show articulating why they've been taking this really firm stand. And let me just play Cori Bush, because she's explaining why she has taken the stand that she's taken. She was on TV earlier today. Let's play that.
Being fiscally responsible also has to start with how you save lives, and so that is the work. And so I'm just urging all of our colleagues to look at this and see what's in these bills and decide humanity over profits, humanity over property of corporations, humanity over your own ambition.
And just really quick, I want to play Senator Joe Manchin. This is why there's a lack of trust, I think, among some progressive members of your caucus, because she's saying this is all about humanity. We've got to think about humanity, not profit. Here's Joe Manchin, the guy y'all got to win over in the Senate. Here he is.
Senator, do you believe the argument that this is BBG is going to lower inflation?
Thank you.
Thanks. Do you buy that argument?
I haven't heard any specifics on that one. They say it's going to lower?
They say it's going to lower inflation.
I'll have to check on that one. I really don't know.
And you add to that the fact that much of what's in the big infrastructure bill is going to be administered by the states. So if you're in Oklahoma or Kansas, or you're in, South Carolina, do you really believe that these Republican governors are going to distribute the benefits of the infrastructure bill in a way that's going to help people of color? Come on now. So I think that's the problem, right? Is there's a lot of having to trust the states, and you've got this man bill that's going to employ a lot of mainly men, and then you've got the bill for the women, the women and the people of color that's like left to the side. So do you have trust? Yes, you trust the president. Yes, you're putting your trust in him. But do you trust the Joe Manchins of the world and the Kirsten Sinemas of the world to do their share?
Well, look, I do. And it's not a blind trust, right? Like, this is something that was essentially largely pre-conferenced, this Build Back Better Act. That's why we had to accept a cut from the top line number that we originally had. But what we did is we were still able to get every single Progressive Caucus priority into the Build Back Better Act, not as strong as we would have liked had we had more votes in the Senate, more votes in the House. We have very slim margins. We need Joe Manchin. We need Kristen Sinema. We need all the progressives. We need everybody. That's just the reality of where we are. And what the president did was he negotiated with Senator Sinema, with Senator Manchin. I've spoken with both of them. I believe that the vast majority of this bill is pre-conferenced and that Joe Manchin will come along, Kirsten Sinema will come along, because we need to deliver this. It is the president's agenda. It's the Democratic agenda. And most importantly, it is about humanity. It is about helping people to get what every other country in the world has on many of these things. And it's about delivering on climate change, right? We just came back from COP26. We said the United States is committed to reducing carbon emissions, to being a leader in climate. This is the bill, Joy, not the infrastructure bill. This is the bill that delivers on climate. So I think that I do feel very good about where we are. I can't say that that would have been the case 6 weeks ago had we not held the line. But what we got was we did get the infrastructure bill passed, and we got the commitment that we would get this vote in the House this week, and then it would quickly go to the Senate. So, look, I just think we have to continue to deliver for people, and we're not leaving anybody behind. And I think that's what the Progressive Caucus has been able to do. That's what you've been highlighting on your show. These are jobs that are going to women, to folks of color. They are good. People talk about the infrastructure bill as a jobs bill, and it is. It creates a lot of good union jobs.
Yeah, one thing's for certain is that, they got the physical infrastructure package passed, and this next package is going to be very, very big as well. And then there's going to be another package after this, because this next stimulus package has really been broken down into half. Let's call it 1.75 trillion, whatever it's going to end up being, right? Because really there's going to still be a lot of wiggle room here when it goes to the Senate. It's got to pass the House first, of course, but then it's going to probably come back to the House after the Senate changes it. But once the Senate passes it, they'll probably just send it back to the House. It's just a formality. The House will probably just pass it really a day or two later and probably not change it. That's what happened with the third stimulus package. When the Senate changed it, they just sent it back to the House, and the House just said, okay, and they just voted on it pretty much the next day and just passed it. So it was really just a formality of just sending it back, and then poof, they just changed it. So that's why really what happens in the Senate is probably going to be the bill that sticks, the bill that ends up being the final bill. So keep that in mind. And remember that there's probably going to be another large bill after this. President Biden has already confirmed basically the second half of this stimulus package. We just had two senators introduce or reintroduce Social Security bills to raise Social Security benefits by several $100s per month. So I'll link you to those videos here in a moment. Make sure to subscribe down below. We're going to be giving away $1,000 in total. We're going to start a contest called What's in the Box. If you can guess what's in the box, we're going to be giving away $100 to 10 different people here. The contest hasn't started yet. It's going to start here soon, maybe in the next day or so, day or two. We're going to be giving clues, 10 clues through 10 different episodes. You want to write down the clues, and the more clues, it'll be one clue per video. And if you can figure out what's in the clue and guess correctly, you'll be entered into the pool of people who have guessed correctly. And from there, 10 different people will be randomly picked. All you got to do is comment down below to guess. Okay, you can guess as many times as you want. And once we start giving clues, and if you guess correctly, then you're entered into the pool of people who have guessed correctly. And there, I have a little tool that randomly picks people. And we're going to be giving away $100 to 10 people for a total of $1,000 before Thanksgiving. And then we're going to do it again in December for the holidays. So it's just kind of our way of giving back to people for the holidays. So yeah. So stay tuned. That's going to happen here very soon. And make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss out on new videos. After subscribing, click the bell icon so you get notifications when we go live with new videos, which is every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can click here to watch my newest video next. And this top video is how to apply for rent assistance. You can get up to 12 months of your rent paid. And this bottom video is how to apply for homeowners assistance. Again, you can get money if you're a homeowner. So both funds have money available right now. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.